Is it better,
Yeah, you're
Anthony?
live.
I got the kid back. So,
Yeah, thanks.
all right.
That's good.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow. We are meeting remotely, which is something that we're allowed to do under the continuing executive order of Governor Cuomo. This is a regular board meeting, so we will begin by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise with me in your respective places, and we'll go from there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Since everybody's in their own home, they can remain standing or sit down, whatever your pleasure is. First order of business on our agenda this evening is a warrant that was distributed to the board earlier. For the record, it's in the amount of $594,258.48. There's a large health insurance payment that's part of that. If there are any questions on any part of the warrant from members of the board, please direct them to Sarah DiGiacomo, our treasurer, who is joining us tonight over there. And if there are no questions on the warrant and everybody's good with it, I would ask for a motion to approve the warrant.
Move to approve the warrant.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. I know Glenn moved and seconded was
Denise.
Michelle.
No, it wasn't me.
Michelle.
Denise.
That was Rochelle.
Oh, I see hands. All right, we'll get this down again. Any questions on the motion? Any discussion, rather? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Sandra?
Aye, I was muted, sorry.
All right, the warrant is approved. You're welcome, Sarah. You don't have to unmute to say thank you.
Thank you.
Go pay the bills. We've got the minutes of several meetings and work sessions that were also distributed earlier. The board will start with the minutes of October 27th. Any edits or amendments, or any changes to the minutes needed? And if not, can you get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes of September 15th, 2020.
Seconded.
7/2/7.
Yeah, October 27th, right?
Yeah. Yes, Denise.
Oh,
Christie
I'm
Stagman.
sorry. I was just reading them through the packet. I apologize. So October 27th, motion to move the minutes from October 27th.
Seconded.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Abstentions? Okay, the minutes are approved. We got the minutes of November 3rd. Any changes needed, folks? If not, can we get a motion to approve the minutes of November 3rd?
Motion to approve the minutes of November 3rd.
Moved. Second?
Second. Second.
By trustee Kevler, second by trustee Gonzalez. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions? Minutes are approved. Got the minutes of November 10th.
Move to approve the minutes of November 10th.
Can I get a second?
Sorry, second.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Rosenboom, seconded by Trustee Gebler. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Bless you.
Thank you. Lastly, the minutes of November 17th. Any changes? If not,
Motion to move the minutes of November 17th, 2020.
Seconded.
by Trustee Scaglione, second by Trustee Spiro. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed or abstentions? And the minutes are approved. Thank you all. Got a couple of announcements, some appointments I would like to make, but first, the most important thing is last week we talked about what was happening with the coronavirus, with COVID-19 in Sleepy Hollow and parts of Tarrytown and all around the country, really. And we were being moved into what's called the yellow zone by the state. And that is because the number of cases that we had, active cases that we had gone up at least fourfold. Talked about how over the summer, we were down to having active cases, which is defined as anybody who has tested positive and in the 14-day period from the time that they tested positive. We were in the teens, we were in single digits, we kind of went back and forth. And then last week, our numbers were over 70. So a huge jump. A few days ago, our numbers were over 80. As of today, our numbers are well over 90. So we're going in the wrong direction. Our numbers are going up. The only way we're going to be able to get this thing under control is for everybody to wear a mask when they're outside, for everybody to socially distance, for everybody to the extent that they can refrain from engaging with other folks that are outside of your normal circle. I know there's people in the village who don't have that option because of where they live. And that is just a really, really tough thing to go through. But those of us who can have to do everything we can to help stop this thing. We are, the thing to keep in mind is as we start to go deeper and deeper into active cases or higher and higher in active cases, we're going to be required to take on additional or impose additional restrictions on life in Sleepy Hollow. It was tough enough for a lot of our businesses to make it through the first shutdown last spring and open up this summer. We may be going back to that under the yellow caution. It's still, our restaurants, for example, can stay open, but you can have more than 4 people at a table. We go into those next levels, they won't be able to stay open. It'll be takeout only. That's going to be devastating for some of our local businesses. Churches, the largest assembly places in our village, are required to go to 50% of capacity. They may be required to go to less than that. So there are very real consequences to all of us if we don't get a handle on this thing. So again, please, please do what you can to keep all of us safe and to help us all together get a handle on this. A couple of things that I wanted to raise. I had some folks who want to step up and help serve the village in a couple of capacities. So I would like to I will appoint Catherine Baldwin, who lives on Webb in Sleepy Hollow Manor, to the position of the vacant position or open position of village justice. That position is open until through this coming March. It's an elected position. The village justice gets elected every 4 years. So Kate, as she's known, has said she's willing to step up and do that. I think she's very qualified, a lawyer, practiced, and has lived in our community long enough, I think, to really understand who we are and how our justice system can and should work, and would be hopefully an able replacement for Andres Valdespino, who served this village extremely well for many years and will be missed, as I said before, not just as village justice, but as a neighbor that many of us valued. We also have 2 vacancies on our zoning board. I'm going to appoint Sandy Tripp, who lives on New Broadway in Weber Park. It's been a resident of, with her family of Sleepy Hollow since 2002. Spent most of her career working with architectural firms, and I think it would be a really good addition to the zoning board. And we really need to get those vacancies filled. She has some past history with the village as a member of the Architectural Review Board. So she has a pretty good sense of who we are and what we'd like to do. Comes recommended by current chair of the zoning board. I was about to say Tim Judge, Tim Church, my apologies, Tim Church. Also Weber, longtime Weber Park resident. So we'll get to that later, and I'd like the board to consider both of those appointments. We're going to move on now to reports from our department heads. We'll start off with recreation with Matt Roan. Matt, you're up.
Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, recreation report. Since the last my last report, one October program that I didn't get to announce last time on Halloween itself. We held 3 Halloween activities at Kingsland Point Park for our local residents. At 11 a.m. we held an arts and craft and pumpkin decorating event at the pavilion. And then at 1 o'clock we had Halloween pictures and pony rides at the Catherine Davis Pavilion. And then finally at 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we had a truck or treat event on the lawn. All 3 events were very well attended. However, due to our social distancing restrictions, we spread out all the groups and kept everybody at safe distance. I want to thank the fire department, police department, and ambulance, DPW, all the trucks that came and helped out with that event. It was a beautiful day and very successful. The kids missed trick-or-treating and the hayride this year, but that day was excellent. So I'm happy that we were able to pull that off. We also held a Halloween house decorating contest with various categories and prizes. Congratulations to the Monroe family of Weber Park, the Cedar family of Hunter Avenue, and the Ruiz, Dean, and Garrett families of Amos Street for participating and winning prizes. And thanks to all the businesses who helped donated prizes for that event. Some upcoming events. Unfortunately, we will not be running the annual tree lighting, Cookies with Santa, and the horse-drawn carriage rides this year. However, we are going to do a few holiday events. We'll still be able to sponsor the letters to Santa, and we're planning a holiday house decorating contest similar to the Halloween event that I just explained. So we're looking forward to those. We're also going to get creative, and I spoke to Mr. Mayor today a little bit about this. We're going to be holding a virtual holiday celebration, including a tree lighting on Saturday, December 19th, where our residents will be able to log in and celebrate the holidays from home. We'll have music and family pictures and special holiday messages, and we'll have a recording of the tree being lit. So that's going to be exciting. You'll be able to log on a website, which I'll make available to everybody, and you can spend the night at home and share it with our residents. So that'll be exciting. So unfortunately, we can't get together outside, but that'll be a good way to kick off the holiday season. The Halloween drive-in movie was very successful. So we're going to hold another drive-in movie event on Saturday, December 5th at Kingston Point Park. The movie title is Elf, and we'll be charging $10 per car for this event. The movie is scheduled to start at 5:15. Jimmy's Soft Serve will be on hand for some hot beverages and popcorn. You must pre-register for this event so we can make sure we can control the amount of cars in the park. To do that, you have to register on Community Pass. There'll be no paying at the park the night of the event because spaces are limited. Some of our senior citizen events, we've had to deal with some cancellations lately, unfortunately. We did not hold bingo last Tuesday or today, and only a few people have been interested in coming to the building the last couple of weeks. And the holiday celebration lunches will also not be held this December. We are doing some smaller activities. The exercise classes that were held outside on Mondays and Wednesdays are inside, but we're not bringing in more than 10 people in the building. And the senior yoga class instructed by the gym guys on Thursday mornings, same rules and regulations. They're allowed to be inside as long as we have less than 10 people in the building. We organized a take-home ceramics class last week on Wednesday, the 18th. So instead of holding the class inside our senior building, we ordered some ceramic kits, and the seniors were able to pick them up and take them home and create their projects. And then we're going to bring them back to the ceramic center so they can be glazed and fire finished. And we did that in October, and we did another one last week. So it was nice to give the seniors an activity. And just a reminder, the lunch meal programs, the delivery, we haven't stopped this whole year, and it's still going on. So we could still help with the seniors that need to get a lunch, or if they need to go grocery shopping during the week. The after-school program is still running. However, we did hit a snag 2 weeks ago as one of our participants did test positive for COVID. We followed proper protocols with the county health department, and we shut our program down as recommended by the health department for a week, as all staff and participants were contacted by county tracers and were told to quarantine until this week. We are back in operation. However, we are making decisions this week on how to proceed for the month of December. Just a reminder, we have a very small group of kids this year because of the virus, but we're worried about the continued spike in issues that are coming. So we're reviewing that and going to make a decision about the next month or two. We want to keep everybody safe, the kids and the staff. Some park items, obviously being the winter, there's not a lot going on, but we are still continuing to make progress with the propane to the platform tennis courts. DPW is digging the trenches this week so we can run the piping underground to bring the propane to the courts. So we're slowly making progress, but we're getting there. I'll keep everybody updated next meeting on how it's going. And we replaced a broken playground piece down at Barnhart Park last week. We had the company come in and install a new apparatus down there. And just two miscellaneous items. We purchased 2 vehicles that were previously approved in capital budgets. These vehicles are one new pickup truck for the Parks Department and a new SUV for the Recreation Department to replace the old meals delivery truck. So that's exciting. We're gonna have 2 new vehicles. And as I mentioned before about the drive-in movie, to register, you have to register on Community Pass. That's the online account. So if you haven't done so, you have to go to the Community Pass general recreation page and then type in the name of our organization, which is Village of Sleepy Hollow, New York, and set up your account. You'll get an email with your information, and then you'll be able to register. We have 35 people that registered for the movies so far on that online program. So we're happy that I'm glad we set that up a few years ago, and it's really paying dividends now with everything going on, everybody wanting to stay home. So that's my report for tonight. If anybody has any questions or comments, I'll be more than happy to answer them. Everybody's on mute.
Hi, Matt.
That's good.
Thank
I
you.
like that. No questions if you're all on mute.
Thank you. The Community Pass, is there a link on the website, Matt?
Yes, I can read it real quick too. It's register.communitypass.net. So, but yes, it is on the website. It's also on our Facebook page. You could click on there as well. Our flyers, Paula sent out an email the other day It included the link, so everybody responded pretty quick once they saw that link out there. So
Good.
I'm glad you asked.
Good.
Hey, Matt, I have another question for you regarding the propane tank for the heaters at DeVries. I know we had spoken and you had told me that it may have to be positioned differently as opposed to being above the ground. It may have to be partially under the ground. Can you tell us what the status of that is?
Sure. Anthony Giaccio and I spoke to Sean McCarthy a few weeks ago. We were under the impression when we met with the company that the safest thing would be to put the tank above ground on a concrete slab and protect it with some bollards and some fencing. But after consulting with Sean, because it's a wetland area, he recommended for us to put it either fully or partially underground. It's safer that way, and then we will keep it down securely with some straps and another apparatus. So we'll be okay to do that. I did contact the company. That's what's helping delay the project, unfortunately, a little bit. But that's going to be safer for everybody. That means if there's any situation, if there was some Hurricane Sandy situation, there was no way that tank could be floating down the river or up the river, depending on which way the river's flowing that day. So that's what we're doing.
So is this something the company is doing for us? Do we have to dig a hole, a pit?
We're gonna dig the hole, and they're gonna be able to put it in where
Okay.
it's something new.
Okay.
Like I said, it's not what we planned. We're gonna have to change plans a little bit, but it is something that New England Propane has done before, and they will be able to help us with it. So our DPW will dig the hole, and they will install the tank. So it is.
All right,
That's
great.
unfortunately it's delaying it a little bit, but slowly, like I said, slowly but surely we're getting there.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments regarding Mr. Roan's report? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
You too, man.
Thank you. The next is a report from our community liaison, Deanna Aloha.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Yep.
Who
Can
is
you guys hear
in the
me?
boardroom? Yes.
Yes, I am. I'm still working here. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So my report actually want to give a follow-up in reference to the census. Since we already finished our census numbers for Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown for 2020, we ended up in the 65.3%. Which was lower than our 2020 census. With a difference of 2.7. The 2010 was 68.1%. For Tarrytown, since we created a complete count together between census and Tarrytown, the 2010 for Tarrytown was 69%, and the rate for them was 72%. We actually had it an increase for them, 3.7 increase. But I do want to thank everybody who completed the complete count census team for Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown. I want to also thank the high school students and the middle school students who help us by setting up the tables outside the church, setting up tables in Bakeman Avenue, at the food distributions, at the Tash Market, library. Those were the things that we created, as well as thanking Open Door for helping us distribute the flyers. Also, a special thank you to you, Mayor Ken, and your wife, and who also helped us spread the word to the census of the church, and as well as setting up the tables outside the church. That helped us a lot, actually. And also a special thank you to Marjorie, who helped us a lot also to go outside with the kids with the tablets. And a special thank you for Wiggle, who helped us coordinate, communicate, and keep us updated with the census. She was a big part of the census for the census report for that. Also want to talk a little bit about the Rebate Community Mural. I don't know if Kirsten's on. She's going to give a little more detail, and then I'll do a little summary of that.
Yes, I'm here. Okay, so I just wanted to start by thanking all of you for supporting the project from the beginning, and your quick support allowed us to accomplish the project in an amazing amount of time and have an amazing number of community members engaged in that project. So I just wanted to kind of go over the time frame and some of those numbers, so you have a sense of to report back after how it all went. So once again, thank you to the mayor, to the trustees, to all of the village employees who helped make it possible, to all of those that were involved in the project. And I'm going to give a breakdown in a second about those numbers, but I was compiling my database of people involved, and I was up over 260 people involved, and that doesn't include anybody who donated paint because I don't have them on my list. So the project, we opened the call for ideas and artists back in August, mid-August, on the 14th. We had submissions due on the 24th and 26th, respectively, of August. Selected our artist team on the 27th. Our 3 designers presented their design of the overall mural on September 10th. And then the rest of the mural team started painting and priming on September 14th. And with the help of many volunteers, we completed it around October 15th. And so we celebrated on October 17th with a Meet the Artist event. We had a pumpkin painting event on October 31st with about 150 pumpkins and people out painting, using up some of our leftover paint from the mural. And then, meanwhile, I should say, throughout that time, we had many community members donating paint, and thank you to DPW for picking that up, and for those that dropped off at the fire station, to all you guys for allowing us to store it there, and then for getting it from there down to the mural. And many thanks to Edge on Hudson for their logistical support on site. They were great in providing us an area, water, picnic tables, porta potty, everything we needed during the time that we were working down there. So the mural itself is, the latest word from Edge on Hudson is that the panels will still be up for another 9 to 12 months. So we hope as the weather gets better to potentially do other programming down at the mural site. And we have a Zoom presentation scheduled, co-sponsored with the Warner Library, with one of our residents, Morgan Riddler, is going to give a lecture on the history of murals. So more to follow on that. So just some quick numbers of all those that were involved in the mural. We had 32 idea submissions, and that included both visual, written, both online, emailed, and in person. We had then also the call for artists that went out, and from there we selected 3 designers and then an additional 7 artists and students and community art educators to be our core team. And then later added a lettering artist who did all the white writing that you see on the wall. 6 of those had reserved spots. We had an additional 10 volunteer artists with reserved spots. And that included the 3 community group painting areas as well. The neighborhood house and Tarrytown Rec Center, and a special painting program for people 2 to 7. We had 3 poems selected and many quotes added from those submissions, also included in the wall. We had ages ranging from 2 to 80 of participants down there. We had over 150 volunteers painting over the course of, like I said, it was about a month total of priming and painting time. And we were down there 7 days a week from around 8 to 3 or 8 to 6, depending on the day. We had many, many gallons of paint donated by many residents, and I unfortunately don't have a total count on that. And then just, I should say that that core artist team, they dedicated 700 hours approximately of their time, and I don't have a total count on volunteer time, but just to get a sense of why it was possible to paint a 500+ foot long wall in the short time that we did was thanks to all of those people involved. And just a shout out to everybody that's given words of encouragement or compliments as they walk by the wall or online, both on Instagram and Facebook. It's been great to have that feedback too from the community. And I guess one last thing is to mention we've had some nice publicity in the River Journal and Hudson Independent and with Arts Westchester. So I think, yeah, that concludes what I wanted to say. But thanks again to everybody who was involved and made it a success. It definitely, for me, has been a highlight of the year and kind of much needed time. So anyway, thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah,
add
it should be the other way around, frankly. And thank you for not the report, but thank you for all the work that you guys did to make this happen. I was going to take credit on behalf of the board for the whole thing, and then you made it very clear that all we ever did was said, sure, sounds great, go for it. And I did paint a section that was about that big with a really god-awful pink color. I mean, I can understand why somebody donated it, but fortunately somebody did something really nice around it and it looked great. But the end product was not a product. It was a really great art project, and it brought the whole village together in a safe way at a time that's incredibly difficult to do that. So I think we'll look back on that and not just have that project, but really, really great memories of a terrific event that you guys put together for the rest of us. So thank you.
I did just want to say also, I forgot to say, looking forward into the future, given the success that we had and all the people that were involved, I definitely feel the sense that it gave a little glimpse of what's possible. So I look forward to thinking about what we can do next, and we'll look forward to being before you in the future with some new proposal. But
we wait with bated breath.
Just to add something to the River Community Mural, I think pretty much Kirsten covered everything. I do want to say a big thank you to her. She did a lot. We did a lot of work, long hours. We put a lot of work, but also thank you to the rest of the committee, which was Ann White, Lynn Brady, and Eric Carney. We spent a lot of hours putting that together. One of the things that we did, I want to thank Edison Tenesaka, who put the video. He volunteered to do the first volunteer video. We did it. Also want to thank to Steven Conchacela Guzman, who's being a volunteer, helping us put the volunteers together, help us in anything we needed, not just only on the River Community Mural, but also helping with the census too. He's being a person who's been helping a lot. Like she said, we actually, like Christine said, we have the pumpkin painting on October 31st. We have 150 sign up pumpkins. Thank you for the Village of Sleepy Hollow for supporting that. Agent Hudson, also as well as the DPW making it happen. Paola and Anthony for supporting all of that stuff and helping us spread the word. And also one of the other workshops that we did there was a photography. We want to thank you, Lisette Ranga, who helped us with a photography workshop in October 11. She did a free photography class there. So she did a great job. When it comes to River Community Mural, I think was an amazing experience for myself. I can say that, and also was an inspiration. I got a lot of people getting inspired to not only did it here in Sleepy Hollow, but to bring it to another towns in Westchester County. The news got spread in those newspapers around in other places and locations to different, they actually creating these mirrors, and people are very excited to do that. I had a lot of artists contacting me after everything was done, that if something comes very thing in the future, they would love to participate, and as well as volunteers for them. So that's in terms of the community of the river work. Also want to thank the mayor, all of you, the trustees who supported this, all the idea. I think it was an amazing thing that we can do for the community, especially when the COVID-19 was happening, people needed to get out and do something different. It was a really good experience. We have a really good, results and great comments. And we also right now in the process of working in the documentary right now. And since everything finished, me and Kirsten, we're gonna start together putting the documentary. It's a process that we're working. So hopefully we'll finish it, and more to come about that. And that's in terms of the River Community Mirror. Also want to talk a little bit about things that are coming up next with us. Something that we've been having 2 meetings already. It's a community outreach meeting that we try to do. We have one at Santa Teresa's with the mayor, and one of the board of trustees attended. And also we did another one recently about the police reform with the Hispanic community. They assisted, and we got some ideas of what they like to see in town change, and how can they be able to work together, and what we like to see in the future. So that being put in together, we created in the middle of the Horsemen Committed, which is actually be done by myself, and Mrs. Cecilia Black is a volunteer that is going to be working with me to help us coordinate the meeting. Our first meeting is going to be December 8th. We planning to do at 7 p.m. We planning to do it as a Zoom meeting because of the COVID-19. The purpose of this committee is to have our Hispanic community here to come together to be able to provide support and help and ideas and be able to feel comfortable to come to the village hall and spread themselves, because there's not a lot of participation from them. And sometimes I see the issue being a lack of language. So therefore we decided to create that complete can committed, and then little by little help each other out to be able to feel more comfortable, people coming in, to help us spread the word when we need to come something, and be able to create more volunteers and helping out. So that's one of the reasons. More to come, more detail to come for that. As far as right now, we have already 2 business owners that's going to be part of it, parents from the school is getting involved, organizations, nonprofit organizations here in Sleepy Hollow, as well as the churches are getting involved. So we're going to have a diversity of people being part of this complete can committed. Like I said, this is in the process right now. Our next meeting is in December 8th to put that together. So more to come as the information comes in.
Diana.
And yeah.
Quick question. That's a Tuesday, December 8th. What time is that meeting?
7 p.m.
Okay.
We were planning to have it obviously to end the meeting in person with keeping the distance. With everything what's happening, we coordinated to do a Zoom meeting with people.
Yeah, no, the reason I asked is because if you can next time do it on a day other than Tuesday, because Tuesday we have our board meetings at the same time.
Yeah, that's what we just went out to start up. And then once we have the meeting with the rest of the committee, we're going to ask them what a specific time works for everybody. And we're planning to do it in like on a Wednesday or Thursday. That's our goal. It's just because everybody can like they have that specific day, but we're planning to switch it because of the meeting that we have in every Tuesday.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah, because I'd like to attend that. Thank you.
No problem. In reference to COVID-19, as we know, especially Sleepy Hollow is growing fast. One of the things that we're working that's one of the reasons why we're creating this complete can committee to help us spread, because our inner village is where it's more affected. We are working very close with the organizations here, with Rock of Salvation, Salvation Army, the Santa Teresa Church. How can we spread the word? We are going to start giving flyers out. The priests are giving the announcement to keep the distance and keep the precautions. Other thing that I've been working very close right now is trying to get them help as well as for the churches. One thing that I'm working very close is with David Burns, which is the Chief Operator Officer for AFA Foundation. I'm actually picking up tomorrow some masks. We're doing 3,500 masks. Out of that's going to be donated to Santa Teresa Church. He's going to be going to Rock of Salvation, and I'm working for Salvation Army to confirm if they need some of that stuff. It's just to spread the mask and as well as the gloves. And we also working getting hand sanitizers through these organizations. One of the things that I'm also helping is the Assumption Church Preschool is getting done some of the help. And we're working closely with Freedom Westchester for people who are COVID-19 in fact being a positive. What we're doing it is if family members need some help, extra food besides the distribution that is provided here in Sleepy Hollow and Tarrytown, and as well as Santa Teresa, if they need it, we are keeping it a specific location. If they need it, they can just come and get it. They can contact me and we'll bring them food throughout any day if they need it. So that's one of the things that we also doing it. Let me see. I think that's pretty much everything. More to come once we create the meeting and we put in together all these ideas that we're planning to work as a community to make our town meaning more solidarity, and waiting to support each other and change some things that they would like to see change, especially in our inner village, that they're looking help in terms of the businesses, in terms of having a police reform change, and as well as the COVID-19 situation having under control. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Diana, for the people who are COVID positive and quarantining and need food, are they contacting you? Are they contacting St. Teresa's? Who do they need to reach out to?
So people are contacting me, Santa Teresa Church or Rock of Salvation had someone there, they can actually contact them. Actually working with Westchester County. I spoke to someone this morning where they had mentioned that they have, in case somebody has positive, they can contact them. And I believe they're going to start working with another company where they can send them automatically for them to have them send food to them. I'm getting more information about that, more in details. I'm actually have somebody contacting me about that, where if somebody comes positive, we can send the food. But meanwhile, if somebody comes past, they can contact me. I work
Okay.
with different organizations that I know, and then we can go ahead and send them foods to them.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Deanna. Any other questions or comments on the report? Okay, thank you then. We'll move on to our next department head report, and that's the building department. Mr. McCarthy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So for the month of October, we issued 101 permits, 37 certificates of occupancy, 2 updated certificates of occupancy, and conducted 16 property record searches. That work brought in just over $54,000 in revenue. On our budget side, we spent just over $3,500. The zoning board, they met on October 21st, and they approved the variance up on Hemlock Drive to install air conditioning equipment in the side yard setback. They also approved the variance on Farrington Avenue to construct a rear yard patio that received a variance. They also approved the front yard variance on Harwood Avenue for the construction of a new covered front porch. And then finally, they upheld a decision that was appealed on behalf of an owner on New Broadway. The next zoning board meeting is scheduled for December 16th. And because of the upswing in the COVID, that meeting will be held as a Zoom webinar. At the planning board, they met on October 22nd. Several things happened there. First of all, they approved an amended resolution for the Block I construction, some minor site modifications on that property. They also approved an amended resolution for the 2 Maxwell Drive, which is the Heinz construction. That amendment included a request to increase the number of parking spaces in the parking garage. Due to the final design drawings, they were able to add about 51 extra spaces in that garage, which they're going to allocate those spaces to 2 of the other blocks in the development for future use. And most importantly, I guess, they approved the resolution to begin the construction of the open space waterfront plan. By the way, due to the writing of my report, the planning board also met last Thursday, and several things happened there. One of particular note was the approval finally of the townhouse development on Andrews Lane. 9 townhouses were approved there. They also referred the proposed 20 townhouses that are being proposed on blocks O and P down at the river to the zoning board for a height variance. The developer has decided to move forward with the construction of a portion of that block area, and they're going to seek a variance to increase the height from 42 feet to 48 feet. Just on that note, that is also in keeping with a prior variance that was granted for the Block J townhouse, the 72 townhouses on Block J, as well as the Block I development. So at the end of the day, there'll be some consistency with the height. Also of importance was our first presentation from DeCicco's and Sons for the development of Block A down on the bottom of Beekman Avenue. The Chiquico's and Sons Market consists of about 34, a little over 34,000 square feet of market area, as well as another separate building of a little over 20,000 square feet. And I believe the parking lot's going to house about 274 cars. There's a public hearing scheduled for that project on the next planning board meeting, which is December 17th. Another important project was heard at the planning board meeting last week, and that is for a change of use proposal for the property at between 45 and 49 Beekman Avenue, which is between the post office and Mahopac National Bank. And what the new property owner is seeking to do is to take the vacant commercial spaces on the upper levels of that building and convert that to residential use. And the planning board saw a plan that consists of 16 apartments for that space. That project was also referred to the zoning board because they will require a parking variance for 3 spaces. Now, unfortunately, this happens because they're actually redoing the parking lot striping, and in doing so, making the parking spaces meet the code, which would be more desirable for usage. They're going to lose 3 spaces, but it'll be a better layout. The planning board also scheduled a public hearing for that project for the December 17th meeting as well. On the development side, a lot of work obviously is occurring down at the Edge on Hudson development. The Block I apartments are continually the structural frame being completed. We have the interior mechanical systems going into the Block E condominiums. We also have the under slab utilities going into the second E building right now, which is another 14 condominiums. And on the Block J townhouses, we have about 27 plus or minus townhouse units currently under construction. There's been 7 certificates of occupancy issued. We have, I think, 2 more that are pending. And we have obviously a lot of work happening on the Hines development project as well. Matter of fact, today they started the erection of the prefabricated parking garage. You can see by the size of the massive crane that's down there, it's about a 200-foot boom. I think it's a 100-ton crane. And that project alone for the construction of the garage will take about 35 to 40 days, depending on the weather. It consists of over 400 pieces of prefabricated concrete and will take about 380 or so truck trips to get the product to the site. Also under development, I'd like to announce that we actually issued today the permit for the first part of the waterfront open space, which is the Hudson Plaza Park, which the village received a grant for. And that work is supposed to start next week, hopefully, depending again on the weather. Finally, under code enforcement, we had 12 complaints filed in October. 6 violations were issued, 1 appearance ticket. Although court was not held in October, there is a building court scheduled for December 3rd of next month. And I believe that's all that I have for tonight. Do you have any questions?
Thank you for, again, a thorough report, Mr. McCarthy. And we will now move on to our last department report for the evening, and that is from our volunteer ambulance corps.
Thank you.
And turn it over to Ms. Martello.
Hello, how is everyone tonight?
Good, thank you.
You really want us to answer that?
Sure.
Okay, I don't have it yet.
You don't have what yet?
Come on.
You shouldn't say yet. All right. So I'd first like to start off by thanking all of our volunteers that have continuously been coming out. They really have been proving themselves time and time again. We've been getting multiple calls at once. The other night, we did have 5 requests for an ambulance within a 20-minute period, and we were able to cover all the calls except for one. So fortunately, we have not been having a lot of COVID-related calls. We did just have one a little earlier. So hopefully people with COVID stay in their houses or get their testing done or seek medical treatment without needing an ambulance for their own sake. But with COVID, we're ready for the next wave. We have plenty of cleaning supplies, masks, sanitizer, and we're prepared. So our volunteers are continuing to come out, which is obviously a good thing, and hopefully no one gets sick from our agency. And then we had the county executor and the senator donate a disinfectant fogging machine in the beginning of November, which we've been able to put to use in making sure that everything's kept clean. For the month of August, we had 72 calls. For the month of September, we had 62 calls. For the month of October, we had 72 calls. And for November, so far, we've had 65 calls, which 2 were just within the last 2 hours. So far for the year, we've had 781 calls. And last year, for the entire year, we went on 762 calls. So we're already above that with a month and a weekish to go. We've also reactivated our junior corps. We have 5 junior corps members so far. So if anyone else is interested in joining the junior corps or senior membership, we're always looking for volunteers. That is all that I have.
Well, thank you. Any questions? Well, once again, thank you again for being out there and keeping us safe, and to you and all of the members of the Ambulance Corps.
I will pass that along. Thank you.
May you all have a safe and a happy Thanksgiving.
You as well.
Not all in the same place at the same time, please. Okay, we will move on to we'll move on to public comments. Does anyone wish to address the board?
Mr. Mayor, Ann White would like to speak.
Ms. White, please go ahead. Please be reminded that you have 3 minutes to address any subject that you care to address.
First, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to thank you for your strong leadership in urging people to stay safe. Putting out the notice through the village was really important. And I hope everybody will keep focused on doing whatever we can to limit the spread in Sleepy Hollow. The second thing I'd like to mention is that I have been very interested in participating in the police review and reinvention process. And I have been concerned, I've been very encouraged by the chief's expression of, and the board's expression of interest in restorative justice, and have been advocating for that with the county. And I understand the new district attorney has a transition committee that is looking into various alternative justice systems like restorative justice. And I'm hoping that the village will connect with that if that moves forward. The second thing that has been of concern to me has been seeing that the number of traffic stops in Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow is quite high compared to the population. And there's a lot of evidence that if those are people who can't afford to pay their tickets, that they'll end up driving without a license and still owing it, then losing their license, which is needing for their livelihood. And I'm hoping that the village will be able to look at that, what the records are, and see if that's an issue and what needs to be done about it. I think that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Be well. Mr. Giacchio, does anyone else wish to address the board?
Yes, Daniel Convisor.
Convisor, go ahead.
Unmuting, hello. And let me go in the other room, pardon me, so you don't hear my family laughing upstairs. Thank you. I want to thank the board and the village for supporting the Route 9 active transportation plan and advancing the phase 2 resolution. We, have been working very hard on this plan and appreciate the vote of confidence in, moving forward. And we look forward to working with the administration and the trustees and the mayor to address their concerns and make a solid plan that can work well for everybody in the village. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And be well. Mr. Giacchio, anyone else wish to address the board?
No other people.
Okay, I'll just remind folks who may be watching that we have another opportunity for you for public comments at the end of our meeting. So we will come back to this later. But before we go into resolutions, there was one announcement that I did want to make. I'm sorry I didn't do this earlier, but the Montrose veterans that in Valhalla American Legion Post 1038 have been putting together food drives and food distributions for veterans. And it's important to note if you have donations that you would like to go to veterans, very specifically to veterans, you can take them to American Legion Post 1038, 27 Legion Drive in Valhalla. If you're a veteran and want to avail yourself of this, you just have a couple of requirements. You need to come in your vehicle and you should have a VA ID because these are veterans only distributions. And they will be open on Mondays from 9 a.m. to noon. And they've extended those hours into January. So if you are a veteran and you want to take advantage of this, which I would recommend that you do, those are the hours on Mondays from 9 to noon. And if you want to make a donation to the drive, you may do so at that same location, 27 Legion Drive in Valhalla. And all of the donations will also be, as we did with some of our food drives, you remain in your vehicle during the delivery. So I want to thank them for reaching out and making this known to veterans in our area. We'll move on to resolutions. First up is a short-term parking request on Cortlandt, where we had a public hearing. We had discussed it last week and we have a resolution before us now. Somebody like to enter the resolution? Move the resolution, rather.
Local law amending chapter 400 of the Code of the Village of Sleepy Hollow entitled Vehicles and Traffic Relative to Restrictive Parking. Be it enacted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow, New York as follows. Section 400-7 of the Code of the Village of Sleepy Hollow entitled Parking Restricted in Designated Locations is hereby amended to add the following location thereunder in alphabetical order. And there's just one on Cortlandt Street, the west side, Hours 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Restricted metered parking of 15 minutes at one space between DePeyster Street and Beekman Avenue. The invalidity of any word, section, clause, paragraph, sentence, part, or provision of this local law shall not affect the validity of any part of this local law which can be given effect without such invalid part or parts. This local law shall take effect immediately upon filing in the office of the Secretary of State. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? And let the record show that was 7-0 vote. Next up, we have a zoning proposal that's also been discussed in our work sessions. And we have a resolution on that. Would someone care to read that?
Sure, I'll take that one, Mayor. Resolution of the Sleepy Hollow Board of Trustees approving zoning proposal. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow Village Board is desirous of conducting a zoning study in the downtown, and whereas the Village Board wishes to engage Bughurst Fish and Jacquemark Inc., BJF, to perform such work in accordance with the attached proposal in the amount of $30,000. Now therefore be it resolved that the village administrator is hereby authorized to sign the proposal, thereby engaging BFJ to prepare a zoning study of the downtown in the amount of $30,000. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Uh-oh. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Ken.
Anybody hear me now?
Yes.
Nope.
Route 9 transport. What?
It's broken up, but now I hear you again.
Glenn?
I can hear you.
Yeah, but if it doesn't go, then you're going to have to chair the meeting.
How about I read this resolution first?
Thank you.
Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow on Associate Village Justice. Whereas the Village Justice of the Village of Sleepy Hollow resigned in September, and whereas the Associate Village Justice has assumed the Village Justice's responsibilities until a new appointment can be made, and whereas that the Mayor and the Board of Trustees approve the Associate Village Justice to be compensated for his time consistent with that of the Village Justice. Now therefore be it resolved that the Associate Village Justice shall be paid the sum of $4,000 for the months of October and November 2020. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions? The resolution is approved. Now, if somebody could go back to the Route 9 transportation study proposal and read that resolution.
Do you want
Okay,
somebody-
I'll read it.
Thank you.
Which one?
Mr. Mayor, do you want her to read the entire resolution or only the now therefore be it resolved portion?
Well, we're always big fans, and now they're therefore, so Trustee Gebler, I'll leave it up to you.
Well, I know there's some active participants listening in on the call, so I don't mind reading the whole thing. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow to support the Route 9 Active Transportation Study. Whereas interested residents and officials from the villages of Hastings-on-Hudson, Dobbs Ferry, Irvington, Tarrytown, and Sleepy Hollow, the river towns, have been working together since 2016 as a steering committee, jointly studying traffic, safety, pedestrian, and bicycle access conditions in connection with their shared Route 9 corridor. And whereas the new Governor Mario M. Cuomo Bridge includes a dedicated bicycle pedestrian lane, potentially bringing with it new transportation and recreational opportunities to Rivertown's residents, and a significant increase in bicycle traffic on Route 9 from neighboring areas of Westchester, areas west of the Hudson River, and New York City. And whereas by resolution number 09/129/2016, dated 9/27/2016, this board approved an application formally submitted by Sustainable Westchester on behalf of the steering committee and the 5 participating villages for a $150,000 grant from the new New York Bridge Community Benefits Program to fund a proposed active transportation corridor study and plan along US Route 9 from Hastings through Sleepy Hollow and interconnecting with the planned bicycle pedestrian lane on the new New York Bridge, the project. And whereas after the application was favorably received and the grant was awarded, the steering committee, through the administrative support of the village of Sleepy Hollow, procured the services of transportation consultant Nelson Nygaard to perform a conceptual study evaluating the potential for implementing a shared roadway strategy along Route 9, the study. And whereas the study included extensive public outreach, including 5 open house sessions, a public survey, and the maintenance of a website to share information with and receive comments from the general public. And whereas the study illustrated a proposal for a bike pedestrian connection between the 5 villages and the new Mario M. Cuomo Bridge and examined related issues concerning safety, transit access, traffic calming, walkability, sidewalks, crosswalk configurations, parking availability, and motor vehicle level of service. And whereas the steering committee and Nelson Nygaard convened a public meeting to present the completed study to the public at Mercy College on November 17, 2018. And whereas the completed study and other plan documents continue to be available to the public on route9active.org. And whereas the board has been briefed on the study and agrees that the ideas contained therein are worthy of further consideration and pursuit, now therefore it is hereby resolved that the village of Sleepy Hollow is desirous of working with its neighboring villages to achieve mobility and safety enhancements, and recognizes the positive impact enhancements could offer for quality of life of its residents and commercial vibrancy of their community, and supports and endorses additional efforts by the steering committee to identify grants and other funding opportunities to continue studying the Route 9 corridor, and directs that the committee return to this board for specific endorsement before submitting additional grant or other funding applications in pursuit of the project. So moved.
Seconded.
And seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next up, we need to approve voting districts. And we have a resolution on that.
I'll take it. Let's see. Be it resolved that election law 4-1062 requires all villages whose March elections are conducted by the County Board of Elections submit to the County Board of Elections a list of polling places. Be it resolved that the village of Sleepy Hollow has the following 9 election districts in the village, 9 election districts in the village election to be held on Tuesday, March 16th, 2021. And be it further resolved that the following polling places will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. on election day. First election district, Union Hose Company Firehouse, corner of Cortlandt Street and Cedar Street in Sleepy Hollow. All of these are in Sleepy Hollow. Second election district, Union Hose Company Firehouse, corner of Cortlandt Street and Cedar Street. Third election district, Firehouse Headquarters, 28 Beekman Avenue. Fourth election district, Rescue Hose Firehouse, 11 Lawrence Avenue. 5th Election District, Rescue Hose Firehouse, 11 Lawrence Avenue. 6th Election District, Phillips Manor Restoration, 381 North Broadway. 7th Election District, Fraternal Order of Eagles, 322 North Broadway. 10th Election District, Phillips Manor Restoration, 381 North Broadway. 11th Election District, The Commons Building, Kendall on Hudson, 1010 Kendall Way. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Abstentions? And the resolution's approved 7-0 as well. And we have another resolution regarding actions of the ambulance corps.
Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow confirming the actions of the Ambulance Corps. Whereas the Board of Trustees approves the actions and recommendations of the Ambulance Corps members as stated in the enclosed memo to the board attached. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees directs the village clerk to notify the ambulance chief in writing of this resolution. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to read the names of the new people who were designated as active members. Dear Mayor and Board of Trustees, please be advised that at our monthly meeting, the following people were voted in as active members: Jennifer Ojito, Michael Pereira, and Yasmin Nunez. Please follow the normal course of actions.
Great, thank you. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions, and the resolution is approved. Thank you. And we have another resolution regarding the actions of the fire wardens.
Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow approving the action of the Board of Fire Wardens. Whereas the Board of Fire Wardens of Sleepy Hollow Fire Department at a recent meeting accepted 2 new members, Scott Clammy of Terrytown and Nelson Rico of Sleepy Hollow. So moved.
Seconded.
And seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 I had said that I am appointing Catherine Baldwin of 11 Webb Road in Sleepy Hollow to the open position of Village Justice. And I would like the board to consider that appointment tonight. As all of our viewers know, the mayor makes appointments, but those appointments must be approved by the Board of Trustees. Just again, Ms. Baldwin is a local resident and has been here for a number of years in Sleepy Hollow Manor. Bit on her background, she's from this part of the country, originally attended Yale for undergraduate work and the University of Southern California for law school, and did well in both places and a number of honors throughout her academic career. She has worked in the Court of Appeals in California, and also the U.S. District Court in California, as well as law firms in that state as well before moving back to the East Coast. She comes recommended from our former Village Justice, Mr. Valdespino, and I think she'd make a great addition. I would also add, as I said earlier, or remind folks that this is an appointment that lasts for a matter of months until our new village year, which begins on the first Monday in April. So members of the board, I ask that you approve this appointment.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed or abstentions? Thank you. That's 7-0. Just another quick note, all people who are appointed as village justices are required to take a bench training course. I don't know, Mr. Smith can probably give us a better idea about that, but I don't think we really want to know the whole lot of the details. I think we can figure it out. Ms. Baldwin would be doing that, and then I think there'll be a transition between Mr. Farella and Ms. Baldwin as our acting justice goes back to being the associate justice, and she takes over, and hopefully that will be relatively quick. Again, I thank both of them. I'd also, I'm making an appointment to the zoning board, to an open position there of Sandra Tripp, who's a longtime resident of New Broadway and Weber Park, and also local, and her education and background is from Marymount College in Tarrytown. She's a designer by profession, and has worked almost all of her adult life in architectural firms. And I think when it comes to the zoning board, that's an advantage for members of the board. She comes recommended by her neighbor and our current zoning board chair, Tim Church. She would be appointed to the expiring term of Mr. Judge, which I believe ends in 2021. So again, a matter of months as well.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposition or abstentions? Thank you very much. We'll move on to old business or new business. Anybody in the board?
We're having a hard time hearing you, Ken.
I think you need to move closer to the mic.
Old business, new business, anybody?
Hey, I just want to give the board an update on the Lower Beekman traffic study. The chief has done a second speed analysis for 1 week. If you recall, the first study was done around Halloween, which interestingly may have benefited us in terms of gaining some really interesting data of when the village is somewhat busy. And also we had a traffic obstruction in the middle of the road that slowed cars down. So now the second study involved, a lot less people around. Commerce was reduced, and also there was no obstruction on Lower Beekman. So I think the results have not come in yet to me officially, but I think the results are a little different from the first one, which yielded an average miles per hour on Lower Beekman of 17 miles an hour, which is way below the 25 mile an hour speed limit. So I'm looking forward to the results, and I'll share them with the board the next time we're together. And working with Chief Boetti on this, and Kirsten from the planning board, and Denise and Sandra from the Board of Trustees, to figure out a traffic calming measure that works for Lower Beekman. Keeping everyone safe, pedestrians safe, is the paramount goal here. So I'll get back to you with more results on that next time we meet.
Thank you, John. And any other old business or new business? Okay, Ms. McCarthy Tompkins, do we have any communications, petitions, or requests?
We did not get anything. And my office didn't get anything. I did receive a letter from Pat Monroe that I distributed to the board. And that is it.
You are watching this on TV while you're doing the Zoom session.
No, can you lower that?
That's okay. I was just
All right.
guessing that what the echo was.
It's my husband.
It's good that he has an interest in village affairs.
And just wanted to let you know that the village calendar for 2021 is completed and it shall be out in the mail in the next few weeks.
Great. We got a preview and there's some great, some really great photos in there. Nice
Yeah, it
job.
looks amazing. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, if there aren't any other new business items or old business, then we'll move on to public comments. Mr. Giacchio, has anybody requested to address the board?
No comments, Mr. Mayor.
I see one right there. Kirsten.
Hi, thank you.
Excuse me, Ms. Harris.
I just want to take the opportunity to thank the board for all the work that they're doing that I think complements well a lot of the goals outlined in the comprehensive plan, both the zoning study you just approved and also supporting the Route 9 active transportation study. And I know I emailed you about the latter earlier today, but one other thing I dug up in looking at old documents was in reference to your previous, I think, resolution supporting or approving complete streets. And just wanted to remind everyone, because I think it would be great if we could take opportunities to find, we have many projects going on both along Beekman and in the inner village along with Route 9 coming down. I think as we improve some of those intersections, if we can look to actually implement some of the complete street policies or strategies, that would benefit everybody. So just wanted to say that as well.
Thank you. Mr. Giacchio, last call.
No comments.
Okay, thank you. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All. And we just got joined by a very young member of Chief Boetti's family right at the end there. Anyway, it's refreshing. Thank you, Chief. Everybody have a safe and a happy. Okay.
Same to you.
Happy
All right.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Hey guys,
Happy Thanksgiving.
thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.